Thank you all for coming to meet the mayor. My name is Mike Doyle, and I consider myself the Joseph A. Banks of Danville politics. By that I mean, when I'm invited to an affair like this, or any affair, I just had an affair yesterday with the Danville Women's Club, I always bring 1, 2, or 3 staff members with me. I get out from doing all of this, and they're experts at what they handle, and they're in tune with it. They work with it very closely every day. If I were to do all they do, I'd keep you here for 3 hours. So we've got 3 people here from our staff: town manager, Parks and Rec, our Mike Doyle, who takes care of, who's built all of this street structure around here. And I'm going to turn it over to Joe Calabrigo and let him start this little soiree. We got our, instead of having our chief of police, we have a excellent replacement, Lieutenant Alan Shields. And if you have any questions about the police department, talk to Alan. Joseph, again, thank you all for coming. Get the show started. Joseph.
All right, well, thank you and good morning, everyone. It's been a very busy summer, a few months since the last time that we had an opportunity to get together here. So we do have some presentations this morning where we're going to give you an update on what's been going on with some of our capital projects, both presently and looking forward. We have Michael Stella, who is in charge of our capital improvement program here, and Michael's going to do that. Henry Perez Alonso, who's our recreation manager, is going to talk some about programs, activities, and events that have been going on in the area of recreation, arts, and community services. Certainly, last but not least, our administrative lieutenant, Alan Shields, is here, and he's going to talk a little bit about public safety and some of what's going on with the police department, and hopefully see if he can get some of you to come on out to our open house, which is going to be tomorrow over at the town offices. Before we do that, though, why don't we just very quickly go around to each of the tables and do some self-introductions real quick, just who you are, why you're here, and I think that we've got a small enough group to be able to do that in just a couple of minutes. If
When it comes time to introduce my son, I'll have to say something about him.
yes, indeed, we're going to hit that table last, so we're going to go ahead and just start right here.
Good morning, I'm Michael Stella from town staff.
Henry Perez Alonso, town staff. Jerry Helton, concerned citizen.
Alan Shields, Police Department.
Hi, I'm Shelley Despotakis with the Danville Area Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, I'm Don Labar with Lawyers Title.
Good morning, I'm Liz Grasswich. I'm the Director of Communications and Community Relations for the school district.
And I'm Candace Anderson, County Supervisor for District 2, which is part of Danville. District 2. Danville's part of District 2.
I'm Ron Kosich. I'm with the Kiwanis Club of Santa Rosa Valley, and also known as the chairman of the parade. Yeah.
And I'm Marcia Harmon, Cottage Jewel, Discover Danville Association, and our Danville Area Chamber of Commerce.
I'm Alicia Strauch. I live here in Danville, and I also sit on our Parks and Rec Commission.
I'm John Q. Citizen, recently retired out of Danville, and just love this place.
Lon Ferris, Santa Rosa Valley Fire. Good morning, I'm Will Plummer, just an interested citizen.
Good morning, I'm Matt Stamey. I'm on the board of directors of the Santa Rosa Valley Fire Protection District. Say that fast once.
Jean Reed, resident.
John Reed, resident.
Sam Schuler, Monterey, resident.
Joanne Doyle. Belong to him.
I want to introduce my son, Mickey Doyle, from North Carolina, and one of his claims to fame, he was one of the first on the first football team at De La Salle, and there was approximately 15 kids out, and if somebody got hurt, they'd have to call the game because they had no replacements, and Mickey played both ways, and one day he got his busted nose, and and they were gonna have to call the game. I said, I don't care what he did, if it could be broken or broken leg, he's gonna play. So, but 15 kids started out, and his other two brothers started the streak, and as De La Salle is well known, and you can't get in the stadium today, but I was one of the few people who were there watching them first, 20 years ago, Mickey, or whatever. Morning, everybody.
Hi, I'm Nick Benzoni. I'm here representing Assemblywoman Catherine Baker of the 16th Assembly District, which includes Danville.
I'm Patty Hoyt. I'm Alcohol Policy Coordinator at Discovery Counseling Center, working in the community to reduce underage drinking, marijuana use, and prescription drug abuse.
I'm Leslie Seller, President of Danville Rotary.
Diana Wellington, Danville Chamber, Alamo Rotary, and Mayor Sept Realtors.
Well, welcome everybody. So let me go ahead and turn things over to Michael. And Michael's going to tell us about what's been going on and what's happening with some of our capital projects here in town. Michael?
So thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Mayor Doyle, and welcome everyone. Good morning. It's always a pleasure for me to come and talk about some of the improvements that we have underway around town. So we're going to talk about capital projects for a few minutes, and let me just start with some projects that have been underway for a while. And let's start with the North Parts Avenue project, which is just north of here. This project has been underway for quite a while now, and we had a couple project goals for the town. We really wanted to extend the charm and character of the downtown, the historic downtown area, up to this northern section of town. And just by way of reference to orient you, let's see. So San Ramon High School is here. This is the intersection with Danville Boulevard and Railroad Avenue. The project began here and kind of continued south, past Linda Mason, actually off the slide, and continued down to Davila Road, and then kind of dogleg left up Davila Road. So a couple of things you'll notice from this artist rendering. This is kind of our conception of the project when we began. We wanted to increase public parking in the northern section of town, so we added this diagonal parking along the sidewalk. We actually needed a sidewalk because the sidewalk didn't exist, so the new sidewalk that you see today was installed with the project along the west side of the road. We also added some decorative features, brick banding to the sidewalks. We installed some decorative streetlights, which are also energy efficient, save 30% on energy costs into the future. And we planted some new vegetation and landscaping, especially along the business frontages on the west side. It's an interesting newspaper article I ran across yesterday in preparation for today. This is actually from October 2008. This was in the Danville Weekly, and it was an article that talked about kickoff of the project. So this project had a long history. It began before 2008. And interesting thing to note about this article, it was written by an author, young journalist named Jeff Gillette. And for those of you who don't know, Jeff Gillette now works for the town as our public information officer. So this is what we faced when we arrived at the project site. It was kind of what I would characterize as a sea of asphalt from the building faces on the west side all the way across the road to the east side. And not only a sea of asphalt, but very worn, cracked, aged asphalt as well. Most of it was constructed in the 1950s, and not much had changed since that time. And you can see that it was in dire need of some upgrade. So we did just that. We started about 2 years ago. Actually, we worked with utility companies on utility relocations. East Bay Mud was kind enough to replace their aging water line in the road. We had to work with PG&E and Comcast and some of the other utility providers to adjust their facilities. But ultimately, we were out there doing surface improvements, and here you can see the crew was pouring a new driveway. And beyond the dirt area was landscaping that was installed later. And this is what we ended up with. So this photo is from just a couple days ago. And you can see in the photo some of the improvements that we were able to accomplish. The brick banding in the sidewalk is a really nice feature, and that continues throughout the downtown. New decorative streetlights, as I mentioned, beautiful landscaping, and of course, more parking, which is always in demand here in Danville. So a wonderful project. I hope you have a chance to walk up and down the road in the next few weeks and take a look at our accomplishment. So moving along, we also had a companion project, which is one block over and kind of just to the west of us here in this building on Railroad Avenue. And again, by way of orienting you, this is the intersection with Prospect Avenue. The Danville Hotel project is here, The project began here at Prospect and then continued south and again off of the screen all the way down past School Street, just shy of San Ramon Valley Boulevard. So it was an ambitious project driven in part by the Danville Hotel redevelopment and some of the same project goals: increase pedestrian accessibility, bring pedestrians to this stretch of Railroad Avenue, and do that by way of creating wide, inviting sidewalks with decorative brick banding, again, lots of vegetation, street trees, wider sidewalks, promote retail activity out during the summer months, outdoor display areas, that type of thing. Also some nice street furniture. You'll see bicycle racks, some new park benches, and some of the other features that you'll notice when you walk down the street. This is what it looked like before, and one of the things you'll notice in the photograph, which is no longer there, is all of these utility poles. So you can see just a whole assortment of utility poles that line the street, and one of the project goals was to get rid of all that infrastructure, put it underground where nobody can see it, and we actually worked very hard with PG&E and the other utility companies to put all of that infrastructure underground underneath the new sidewalks. And the other thing you'll notice is very wide street, very auto-oriented. We actually narrowed the street slightly in order to widen the sidewalks and create more of a pedestrian feel. So you can see here AT&T is pulling the utility poles out of the ground. This was kind of a milestone with the project. We were quite happy when this happened, and this was a day that we all celebrated because the utilities were finally out of the way and we were able to install the sidewalks. We do, both with the Harts Avenue project and also with this Railroad Avenue project, do much of the work at night because obviously we're working in the downtown area. We don't want to interrupt the business activity. We want to keep people that drive their cars up and down the road able to travel freely through the downtown area. So some of the work like paving, this photograph represents the paving operation, was actually performed at night. And this is what it looks like today. So quite a dramatic improvement, I would say. And you can see obviously the Danville Hotel redevelopment project has sprung to life in this photograph and complements all the roadway improvements that we were able to accomplish with the town's project. So since we touched on the Danville Hotel, I'll just show you a couple slides, and these are actually from the developer's website. This was a private redevelopment project. It obviously created a great opportunity for us to enhance the downtown. And the nice thing about the project is it accomplished three important goals. One is historic preservation and restoration. So you can see the Danville Hotel building itself was restored to its former glory here. And if you go down and take a look at the building, it's really quite spectacular. In addition, there's another historic resource immediately adjacent, just to the left of the hotel is the Macaulay House. It's also been restored. And then surrounding are these two new buildings that the developer built. So we're proud of the fact that we're bringing 12,000 square feet of new retail space to the downtown area, including two new restaurants. And I'm excited to say that there's a pizza pasta place coming and also a brew pub. The first retailer has moved in, Papyrus, so if you go down, you please visit their shop, and many more retailers to come, so quite excited about that. And then the third component was some residential in the downtown. So now if you are interested, you can actually purchase a condominium and live upstairs from the Danville Hotel. So this is one of the illustrations of the condominium units that are going to be for sale very shortly, I understand. And there's 16 units. They range in size from a little over 900 square feet to a little over 1,400 square feet. So fairly small, but if you go out and please have an opportunity, if one presents itself to tour these, walk through them. The balconies provide wonderful views of Las Trampas Ridge and also Mount Diablo. So very, very nice development in my perspective. So let's now leave the downtown. And by the way, those two projects that I mentioned, Railroad and Harts, are just about finished. We got a little bit more work to do, but we're going to say by the end of the month, hopefully we're going to be out of everyone's hair. And we're then going to move over to some of our park sites, and I'll start with this project. And I know this is a favorite project of our mayor. So over at Sycamore Valley Park, which is located off of Camino Tasajera, we have plans to install additional bocce courts. So we have 4 existing courts, and they're shown in this slide here. And we're adding 4 new courts, which are these here. So essentially doubling the capacity of the bocce play area. And in addition, we're creating new picnic areas, which are going to serve not only the bocce courts, but there's a children's play area just to the bottom of the slide here. And also, obviously, our sports fields are very well used during the summer and fall months. So we did get underway with the project earlier this month. We awarded a contract, and the contractor is busy at work as we speak. This project is about a $1.4 million investment in Sycamore Valley Park, and we feel like we'll probably have it wrapped up in the spring of next year and able to open it up again to the public. So quite excited about that. We also have another project going in one of our other parks, Stad La Vista Park, which is off of Crow Canyon Road. We have a sports field that's surfaced with synthetic turf. And just like the carpet in your living room, the turf wears out after a while. We replace our synthetic turf fields about once every 8 to 9 years. They get a lot of use from our sports user groups. So this is a project to take out the existing turf and put in brand new turf. So we're very excited. Obviously, first thing you do when you want to replace your carpet is you roll it up and you haul it off, and that's what they're doing in this particular photograph. And I should mention that this project has not yet begun. These are actually photographs from a project that we did at Sycamore Valley Park a couple of years ago. But we did award a contract on Tuesday evening to a contractor, and they're expected to get started in October, late October, and they're expecting to be finished on February 1st, so we can open up the fields again. And this is the installation of the new turf. If you want to see what it looks like to lay the carpet, we first level the rock underneath, which provides a drainage layer in case it rains, and then put new carpet right on top and stick it down, and away we go. And finally, I'll mention another project over at Osage Station Park off of Brookside Drive. We have a wonderful play area for the children and a picnic area. So the play area is shown here on the left of the slide, picnic area here on the right. If you visit the park, the facilities are a little bit dated. They're in need of replacement, so we created this project to go and replace the play equipment and reconfigure the picnic area, add a few more tables because they're in such high demand. And this is about a $1.5 million investment in Osage Station Park. This project is still in design. We're hoping to get it out the door to bid, open bids in November, and hope to get the contractor underway in January. So I'll show you some of the play equipment because I think it's kind of fun. So in this case, we're transitioning to an Old West theme. So you can see this is some of the artist rendering of some of the play equipment that will be installed. And you can see we have a saloon, a general store, a bank, and even a jail. So. And if you use your imagination, this piece of play equipment is actually a choo-choo train. So I think the children are really going to enjoy the new play equipment once we get it installed, and we're really excited to get the project underway. So since we've been talking a lot about recreation, I think this is a good time for me to pass the baton on to my friend and colleague, Henry Perez Alonso. He's our Recreation Services Director, and he's going to talk for a few minutes about our recreation program here in Danville.
Thank you, Michael, and good morning, Mayor and everyone. This is my favorite topic, and I can't say enough about it. And I'm hoping to just give you a little bit of a picture this morning and let you know what's been going on with the Recreation Arts and Community Services Department. Really specifically, I want to look at what happened this last summer. Now, the summer activity guide, what we really did is we encouraged everyone to kind of really celebrate our community. I don't know if you remember the cover of that one. We had a nice color guard coming down the street from our parade. We wanted to make sure that everyone knew that this is a place to celebrate. So with that, we just kept busy this summer. We encouraged everyone to go out, take part in what was going on in the different celebrations and the different downtown events, as well as all the different recreation events that we had going on. And I'll tell you, our staff had a busy summer trying to make sure that our town had some fun. We kind of kicked it off really with our summer staff taking training. I don't know if you realize what we do for our summer staff, but they get a week-long training. So over 85 summer employees, both our camp staff and aquatic staff, spent some time, with some extensive training for themselves. They went over things of how to operate a safe, fun, exciting summer program. A lot of them became first aid and CPR certified. You might like that, on the fire side, so they're good to go. They learned their camp games, their songs. For our pool folks, they learned pool safety, proper documentation, They know how to kind of check people in and out, how to talk. We even go down to the say of how are you going to say hello to a parent. We want to make sure that they're engaging with the community, making sure that the parents that drop off their children at our summer camps trust them and trust what's going to be happening, that they're going to have fun with their kids. They develop their camp curriculum. They learn new arts and crafts for themselves and for their kids. They taught swim lessons, and they practice their emergency action plans. This is a photo right here of our aquatic staff. They are constantly, every week, practicing their skills, their lifeguard skills, so that they can be ready at a moment's notice if anything ever should occur. We do try and say, though, the best lifeguard is a dry lifeguard. So we hope that they're ready to go in, but hopefully that they stay dry all the time. We asked for, when we looked at folks, we had them explore our summer camps this year. What were the summer camps? What was something that was kind of nice? That the first 2 weeks of summer, we actually served here in Danville over 500 youth through our summer camps. And that was just right off the bat. You know, we did it at various summer camp locations throughout the town. And we did that with our staff run programs and also with our contract instructors. We touched on camps that had sports camps, drama camps, science camps, carpentry, crafts, chess, swimming, things with field trips. All kinds of things that resulting in different skills and different experiences that our children can have throughout the town throughout the summer. And we know that they had, and that's only just a small bit of what they went through. And then we know that they had a good time. We also had a couple of camps that were focused on teens this year. The Ball and Teens camp is kind of do cool things that matter. We had we actually increased our camp this year. We had one camp last year, we had 2 camps this year, so we increased it by 100%. That sound good? So, so actually it was one of those great camps where the kids could give back. So they actually took a week long, and these junior high kids went and gave back to the community. Whether they went to help separate food or to make blankets for kids at a hospital. They really engaged in the community and gave back and learned how to give back. And on top of that, they learned leadership skills. So all those things encompassed in these camps for the teens as well. We also had family events with our family camp out events, where we had for those that have never really gone camping with their families, they had the opportunity to go out to Oak Hill Park, set up a tent, have we would maybe call it glamping a little bit more on that end, because we did have outdoor movies, games, and then they were able to go over to the Monte Vista pool and have some swim time as well. We also had an opportunity actually for folks to experience a different kind of camping up at Mount Diablo. So our staff took a group of families up there and just, again, had a good time of just learning how to camp, enjoying the wilderness, and enjoying outdoors. We also had swim lessons. Some of our swim lessons throughout the year. This is our opportunity to keep our kids safe. This is a lifelong learning skill. It's not something just for the summer. It's something that will keep people safe for their life, for their lifetime. And we were able to kind of teach kids swim lessons from very beginners, parent-taught lessons, all the way up to adults if they want. We have private lessons that were available to folks. For those folks that just like getting exercise, we did have available to them our lap swim program, as well as our low-impact aerobics. This is one of our favorites. I know our senior clientele, they love this class. We started this out a couple of years ago, and they loved it so much we had to increase classes in that. But that's their opportunity to kind of come out, exercise, and really for those folks that may be dealing with arthritis ailments and things like that, gives them that opportunity to be in the water and not really kind of get banged up as much, but allows them to move. And it really helps improve joint functionality, their muscle tone, and endurance. So these are things that we also, lifelong learning is one of our big issues as well that we like to look at throughout our department. Our seniors also got kept active. They went out and we offered them a variety of trips that they were able to visit. They went and visited the Charles Schultz Museum. They had winery tours. They went to the Monterey and had a movie tour of just different locations that movies were shot. Also Cliff House and Conservatory Flowers. The town also hosted right here in this building an evening dance for the seniors where they actually had tango lessons. So they were able to come in here and I don't know if they had actually roses in their mouths and kind of did that thing, but I know that they enjoyed their night learning and relaxing and listening to music. Our performing arts is another area that we are just so proud of and so excited about. This year we actually had Adam Lasher, who is grew up here in Danville, actually currently lives and performs in Southern California, but he is an indie artist who's most recently known for his work on American Idol. So he was on the last season of American Idol, and I remember them, pumping up how he was from Danville, and this was his hometown and things of that effect. But we actually got him to come back to Danville, put on a show And he had a really good following. This is one of our first times, if you haven't seen one of our social media new things that we do with social media with Periscope, we actually got to film him doing his sound check before, to kind of generate the buzz for people coming down. But it was a good time to have Adam down here, and we were glad he was here, and he said he'd like to come back, so I think maybe we'll have him come back as well. We also had our preschool performance series, which are always popular. They're always a full house. It's one of my favorite things. My office happens to be right above the theater, and you literally hear the little pitter patters and the little giggles that are coming through, and it's one of the best sounds. I'm like, oh, must be Friday, must be preschool performance. They were able to see Zappo the magician come by, and then Unique Derek. And Unique Derek is one of those Bay Area legends, having won numerous awards for his percussion and juggling comedy. So, he's world famous, as they like to say, but he came out here and he's one of a kind performer that we were able to have and entertain the kids. The other thing on our Performing Arts series this last summer, we had our Music in the Park series. It was the 30th year of our Music in the Park series. And we were able to also partner with Lazarus Cancer Foundation. They came out and helped us out, helped promote the concert series. We had Tainted Love, a huge band that is very popular throughout this area, an 80s rock band. We had Platinum Rock Stars, the Joy Drops, and Foreverland. We were also able to have our, one of the concerts was here downtown in the town green. So that's one of the things we really like to do, is kind of make sure that we have the big concerts, but then make sure we have that small town feel right here, right next door in our downtown as well. So that was fun for us to promote. We also had comedy came to the Village Theater as well, as we brought in Scott Capurro, who's famous kind of on the Sarah and Vinny show for Alice Radio, one of those comedians who's from the Bay Area and just plays all over the place, was able to come in here and have a good time. We also had our Moonlight movie series this year, that every other Friday throughout the summer we had Big Hero 6, The Sandlot, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Hook, and the Lego Movie. We had an opportunity for families and folks to just sit downtown on a Friday night, bring their food, watch a movie, do some crafts and games, and enjoy the time. Our visual arts as well, this summer we had our juried exhibition opening reception and an actual exhibit, which was Seeing Red. This was our annual juried exhibit show where we actually have multiple artists come. This is one, I think, of one of our bigger opening receptions that kind of brings some folks in. But this year's theme was Seeing Red, which brought a lot of talent from across actually the nation, and that wanted to show off their interpretation of what red means to them. So it was kind of fun to see that. And the exhibit featured mediums from painting to sculpture. And our kids had a great time this summer too. We had arts workshops throughout at the Village Theater, where they were able to kind of tour the theater, see what kind of paintings and other pieces were there, and then they had an opportunity to kind of paint their own as well. So that was something that they got to do, so a positive experience for them to support the arts, learn about the arts. We also had our Artists Uncorked series, which is the opportunity for adults to come in as well and do their painting. They had they came in and they did cooling off on a hot summer night. That was their theme, and that's what they got to paint at. And there was different beach scenes and things like that they were to bring forth. Our summer also kind of just kicks off our summer adult leagues that are out there. We've got folks playing softball, kickball, and of course, the ever popular bocce. That's right, so bocce, continues to be the most popular sport here for adults in Danville. In the summertime, we expanded to 16 teams per night. It's a Monday through Friday league, and this year we had 65 teams submit all their registration and rosters within the first 2 days of registration, which is kind of amazing. And then again, so that was just at the beginning. Then we had this last fall, our fall program that just ended, we had 70 teams. So we've got plenty of bocce players that are out there waiting for those new courts to be. They even asked me specifically, are you sure the fences are going up September 1st? Because we would like to get a couple more games in before that all kicks off. But I assured them it was up. Fences were up, so I don't know if they took their game somewhere else. But we know they're coming back, and they're excited to be back here to play bocce. That, my friends, is a short, small picture of the things that we've accomplished over the summer and just offered everybody. And just thank you for the opportunity for coming out here. And now we like to lean it over. As we keep it fun, we lean it over to the folks that keep it safe for us. So, Alan Shield.
Well, thank you very much, Henry. First off, I'd like to point out that if you'd like, I've got copies of our mid-year report in the back. It's also available online, as is our annual report. There's a lot of good information in there. First, I'd like to address a couple of trends. The two major points that we typically like to address are are the crime aspects and the traffic aspects in town. Those are the two things that are typically most important to us here. One of the things we're seeing is we have seen an uptick in property crime. It is unfortunate, but when we look a little deeper into the numbers, what we're seeing is our residential stats, so the times or the instances where people go into a home and take something, has remained relatively flat. What we're seeing an uptick in is identity theft and basically anything related to a vehicle, theft from vehicle, burglary, those type of things. We have taken a proactive approach, starting back when we started to see this trend in November, December, to try to curb that, either through directed enforcement, through actually hiring an additional crime analyst, and to work with educating the community and how they can prevent from being a victim on that. With respect to the traffic, we're having great success in that area. We're looking at 133 as the total number of collisions for January to June. If that pace keeps up, we're going to be well below 300, which we have never seen, and it'll be a double-digit decrease from the year before. That's excellent, and I think what that really speaks to is not, I think as a cop, we always want to take credit for the enforcement and say we're doing a great job, but really it's a collaborative effort with the police department and most notably the town staff. We get a lot of support through the engineering, we get a lot of support through the community and the Street Smarts program, and I think we're really starting to see that collaborative effort pay off in the form of reduced traffic collisions. So every other year, every year rather, we do a national night out, which is where we try to mobilize the community. We try to get the community involved and coordinate them with their neighbors. We've seen this program grow over the years, and this year I'd like to say that it was very successful. We received a lot of good feedback, and it's great to see parents, kids, barbecue pit, hamburgers and hot dogs, and a couple of cops out there having a good time and talking about what problems they see and what successes and what we can all do together to solve some of the problems that we have. One of the things we did this year was we had an officer for a day, and Wyatt Watson suffers from a disease that will ultimately shorten his life and make it pretty painful. His mother reached out to us and said that he's very passionate about law enforcement, really wants to be a cop, and fortunately we had an opportunity here, and Jacqueline McDaniel, one of our crime prevention specialists, really took this by the horns. She got him a uniform, a radio, a radar gun, and coordinated an awesome day for Wyatt. He was allowed to be a traffic officer and do a car stop. He was allowed to be a canine officer and send him after a suspect and do an apprehension. And if you would have seen the look on Wyatt's face and the joy that he got, I mean, it really provoked a lot of emotion. It was really, really great to see. So I was really happy to see that we were able to make that happen. One of the areas I think the police department has become more and more successful and is with our outreach. And one of the things that the chief did this year, which was really fantastic, was he put on a youth academy. And what we did was we invited teens from the Danville area, from the two Danville high schools, to come down for a week-long academy. So they committed to 8 hours a day for an entire week to learn what it is like to be a police officer, the ethics that go behind it, the decision-making, and most importantly, and I think the one message that typically gets lost on the youth is not how we do it and what we do, but it's why are we doing this? We're doing this to keep people safe. We're doing it to make sure that as we drive down the road, we're not hitting people and we're not hurting people, and we want to protect our property. And so they really got a heavy dose of the why. We received a lot of really good feedback from this. Parents and students alike were giving us positive feedback over and over again. One more thing. So we also just started our Citizens Academy, and I look at the crowd and I actually see a couple of our alumnus here from our Citizens Academy. And we hold that twice a year, and it's a 6-week course where we all meet on Wednesday nights for a few hours and then a couple of Saturdays. And it has the same focus and purpose as the Youth Academy, but it's a little more intensive, and we've seen really, really good feedback from that. There's been we've seen letters written to our sheriff, we've seen letters written to the town, we've seen Yelp reviews, other online reviews, And I think when it comes to outreach and social media, I think as a police department, we've turned a corner, because what I'm happy to see is when I go on Nextdoor, or I go on Facebook, or I go on Twitter, it's not up to the police to respond to a lot of these things. I'm actually seeing informed citizens respond. And what I'm saying is, hey, I talked to the chief the other day and he told me ... and they'll fill in the blank. Or they'll say, hey, I referenced crimereports.com and it's not true. We didn't have 5 break-ins, we had 1. It was just told 5 times. And so I'm seeing a lot of positive public feedback. I'm seeing an educated public, which I think that is our biggest tool in reducing crime and keeping the public safe. And that collaboration for us goes a long way. So when I come here to Mornings with the Mayor and I see a packed house, this is great for me, because I know that we've got a lot of concerned people that are informed and that are gonna do a good job. So thank you guys, and thanks for the time to allow me to come up here and talk with you. I'll be in the back of the room after this, so if you have any questions, come up. I'll be here for a while. And now I'd like to pass it off to the Mayor.
Now you can see why I like to showcase our town staff. They do a marvelous job, and the town council takes all of the credit. But no, we could not do it without this marvelous staff, and I love to showcase them, and that's why every chance I get, I bring them along so people can see them. People see the town council all of the time, but they never get to see the staff, the town manager, assistant town manager, the engineers, the police department. They never get to see firsthand what these marvelous, marvelous people do to keep our town safe, as our police department works day and night doing that, and our engineers and all the people on our town staff who make this town the great place it is to live and to raise a family. And I would not have it any other way. And I am so proud to be the mayor for this year, so I can showcase these wonderful people. Now, all the staff will be around for a while. As that lieutenant said, he'll be here. And if there's any questions, they'll be willing to answer them. So again, thank you all for coming. It's been a pleasure. See you all again. Good afternoon, good morning. And if you have any questions, let's hear it for our staff. Thank you very much.